Today I'm going to give you a tour of Tlatelolco, an overlooked archaeological site of the Aztec Empire, located in Mexico City. But first, here's some historical introduction. Before the Aztecs had an empire, they had a prophecy. It was said that wherever they saw an eagle perched on top of a cactus eating a snake, there they should build their city. After several centuries of searching, that event was witnessed on March 13th in the year 1325, exactly 700 years ago. It's said to have occurred on a small island in the middle of Lake Texcoco. So the Aztecs got onto boats and went there and built the famous and fabled city of Tenochtitlan, the jewel of Mesoamerica, and it would become the capital of the Aztec Empire. But Tenochtitlan was not the only city on that island. For most of their history, there were actually two distinct cities there, Tenochtitlan to the south, on the right here, and Tlatelolco to the north, or on the left. Today I'm going to show you the ruins of Tlatelolco. The Aztecs came to Lake Texcoco in 1324 and founded Tenochtitlan, which would be their capital. About 200 years later, in 1521, the Spanish would come and destroy it. For those 200 years in between, for 135 of those years, there were actually two Aztec capitals. There were two grand plazas, there were two sets of pyramids, and while the Templo Mayor in the main square of Mexico City is famous, this one, Tlatelolco, is less famous, but arguably in better condition. Let's take a look. And now I am here amid the pyramid, that is the separate layers of the pyramid that were built up over time. This would have all been filled in, and with each successive layer, it would have been taller and taller. According to the conquistador Bernal Diaz, this was the most magnificent temple in the entire city when the Spanish first arrived here. They said the architecture was nicer, finer, and more beautiful than the main one in the Templo Mayor. Here you can see the layers of the main pyramid. It was built like an onion, and over there is the central core of it, and every 52 years, more or less, they would add another layer and make the pyramid bigger and bigger, and it probably would have been enormous when it was still built, but as you can see, a lot of the stones were used to build that church, and the first University of the Americas was also founded in this location, I believe in that building. This is really remarkable. This is the pyramid at the core of this elaborate construction, and this would have been the first pyramid that was built here. The entire reason that this place exists is that just 13 years after the Aztecs saw the eagle perched upon the cactus and decided to build their capital city, just 13 years later, there was a conflict, a minor civil war, and half of the Aztecs decided to leave. But when their prophecy said that it was their destiny to live on that island in the middle of the lake, they had nowhere else to go except the other side of the island. So they came here. This was the northern part of the island, and they built another pyramid. And as you can see, it's a double pyramid, just like the Templo Mayor would have been. And there would be one pyramid to Tlaloc, which I believe would be on the left side in the north, the god of rain and water. And on this side would be the pyramid to Huitzilopochtli, the god of the sun, because the sun is usually on the south side. You can also see that the pyramid is sinking somewhat. It's lower over there because we are in the middle of a lake, and the level of this lake has sunk some 30 meters or 100 feet over time. So all of the original ground is uneven as it settled to the bottom. This is really remarkable that after the destruction of the Templo Mayor in the main square of Mexico City, where their pyramid was destroyed, it turns out actually there's another one. And if you want to, you can come and look at this one and have a good idea of what it looked like. And they actually let you walk around in this one. There are here and there some symbols, like spirals, carved into the rocks on the side of the pyramid. But I can't go over there. Let's see if there's some more on this side. I'm now in the back of the pyramid, and you can see that this would have been the second layer. They would make it larger and build a new wall, then fill this with rubble. Oh yeah, here we have some of these signs. Unclear. There's like an S over here. It's unclear what these mean, but this sign keeps recurring all over this wall. Interesting. And here you can see the divide between the two temples. That would be the sun god Huitzilopochtli, and here would be the rain god Tlaloc. And I see some little round symbols here and there. This one looks like it's drawn on almost. There's some other one right there. And other interesting symbols up there. Here's the staircase, and actually in this pyramid they found another structure that was even older than the Aztecs. So the people of Tlatelolco, they chose this site because they found some ruins here from the time of the Toltecs, which was about 300 years earlier than the arrival of the Aztecs to Lake Texcoco. And you can see that in this crack in the stairs. This was you can see that in this crack in the stairs. This was excavated by Eduardo Matos Moctezuma. That's the living descendant of Moctezuma, who's a very respected and famous archaeologist and responsible for excavating many important sites in the late 20th century. This one was dug up in 1988. Did you know that the Aztecs had two capitals? And it's not like some weird legal trick, or like they had one legal capital, one administrative capital, one religious capital. No, there were two different capitals because there were two different Aztec kingdoms. And both of them were located on an island in the middle of Lake Texcoco. Both of them had huge pyramids and ceremonial plazas. And both of them were ruled by the Aztecs. They both had colonies far away and extracted tribute and started the process of the empire building of the Aztecs. So it seems that there was a disagreement among the Aztecs. The ones in Tenochtitlan proper believed that they should build their main pyramid at the site where they found the eagle on top of the cactus. But the people here, they found this old Toltec temple, and they thought that that was the more important place and where they should center their religion. So they did. There were many skeletons found, and those skeletons are from 1473, the time when Tenochtitlan went to war with Tlatelolco and eventually conquered it. And when that happened, the two merged together and finally formed what we can call the Aztec Empire, rather than two parallel Aztec kingdoms. And over here we have a pyramid called the Calendrical Pyramid, and it's called that because it has some special symbols on the other side of it. I'll have to go around. It's a bit difficult to see, but here are the calendrical signs. Just as the Maya had a calendar with different days and months, here the Central Mesoamerican civilizations, the Aztecs and others, used a similar calendar. And here there are these various symbols along the side of the pyramid, such as the symbol for movement, and I believe there's the head of a dog and an alligator and things like that. You can see some more symbols wrapping around the back there. Well, here you can see some of the symbols very clearly. It looks like an eagle. This is the symbol of the Oyin, which means earthquakes, or more accurately, movement. And you have various other creatures and symbols here. That's the symbol of a temple. That's like the side of a temple from a side view. And I believe one of these is the crocodile. And of course, a skull. There's the deer. There's the deer. I'm not sure what all of them are. There you have movement again and a ceremonial dagger. And a great eagle. You can see that there's numbers, and they start over here with 1. There's 1 dot there, then 2 dots here, 3, 4, 5, and so on. And that corresponds to the days of the first 3 weeks of the Aztec calendar. They're not exactly weeks, but something like weeks. Compared to the Templo Mayor, which is in the very heart, the very center of modern Mexico City, a very well-known tourist attraction, unlike that, here in Tlatelolco, it's very quiet, very calm. There's almost nobody else here, and it's easy to get to as well. It's very close to the rest of the city center. You can see the city just extends over there. There's now a road on top of a lot of these ruins. This is a temescal, or sacred bath. It's behind glass, but you can see that there's a water channel there. It's a strange combo you don't see every day. Over here we see a building that's still under excavation, the Great Basamento, the Great Platform. And it's still not clear what it was for, but it looks like they're trying to figure that out right now. They think it may have been a house for important warriors. Here we see some other minor structures. That's the Tzompantli, the skull rack that would have been there. And all around you can see this wall. That's the edge of the ceremonial precinct. There would have been a wall there, and that would have separated the rest of the city from this, the holy ceremonial part of the city. There would have been something similar in Tenochtitlan as well. After the Aztecs of Tenochtitlan annexed Tlatelolco, they didn't need this redundant second pyramid and ceremonial center. And when the Spanish came, they said that it was the most amazing market that they had ever seen in their lives. This is the Tzompantli. This would have been similar to the Tzompantli in the main ceremonial square of Mexico City, and this would have been the skull rack. On top of this there would have been wooden beams, and in between them many skulls. They know that because they found some of the skulls here during excavations. There's some debate about whether these were captives, whether these were ancestors which were being respectfully worshipped, but it's definitely a very outstanding, famous element of Aztec society. And over here in the northwestern corner of the site, near a public walkway, there's something called the Dwarf Temple. And it's just a very, very small pyramid, only about 1 meter on each side. The Church of Santiago Tlatelolco was one of the first churches to be built in the Americas, from stones taken from the pyramid, starting in 1524. It was once filled with murals painted by Aztec painters, which were later painted over because they were considered too pagan in artistic character, with only this painting of St. Christopher remaining. The college founded next door, the Colegio de la Santa Cruz de Tlatelolco, is often described as being the very first institute of higher learning and education in the Americas. However, the Aztecs had a complex system of education and higher learning facilities called Calmecac, which were destroyed by the Spanish. Cortés arrived in Mexico in 1519 and conquered Tenochtitlan in 1521. On the 28th of February in 1525, exactly 500 years before I am recording this, the last Tlatoani, or Aztec emperor, whose name was Cuauhtémoc, died at the hands of Spanish conquistadors trying to determine the location of some gold that they thought that he had hidden, by setting fire to his feet. It didn't work. They never found the gold, and he died in the process. And just like that, the Aztec royal dynasty was no more. Behind me is the Casa Tecpan, and this would have originally been the palace of the last Aztec emperor, Cuauhtémoc, who lived until the year 1525 before he was executed by Hernán Cortés. At that point, it became a courthouse for the marketplace because, of course, Tlatelolco is famous for its market. And this is what's left of the emperor's palace, which became known as Tecpan. And when Tlatelolco was a market, this would have been a courthouse, and it would have settled disputes in the marketplace. So check it out. That's been it from Tlatelolco, the second Aztec capital.